On today's show, look who is directing Suicide Squad 2. Brie Larson has some movies coming out to Netflix, and Ben Affleck is doing laundry, but is he washing his tights? Collider Movie Talk starts right now. We know he's at home. We know he's doing laundry. We just don't know what is in the actual laundry load. Is he, in fact, dusting off his Batman does for one last run? Maybe as an older Batman. Hello, the lights are on, and so is Collider Movie Talk. That is Dennis Zen. That is Mark Reilly. And we have upset the Lord, our Savior, apparently, by jostling Ben Affleck. Is he in? Is he out? We're not sure about that. We're going to dive into all of that stuff as we kick off this episode of Collider Movie Talk, the last one of this week. But we kick off with that other news that James Gunn is going to be directing The Suicide Squad. Yes, I said The Suicide Squad because that's the title of the movie. It's not Suicide Squad 2. This actually is being touted as a soft reboot of the original Suicide Squad. Isn't it nice to live in a world where you can have a movie come out in, say, 2016, win a couple Academy Awards, as a matter of fact, and then say, you know what, it was good. We're going to take it in a different direction, just kind of reboot it. Oh, and by the way, the person we're rebooting it with, the director, he was the Guardians of the Galaxy director, who Marvel and Disney didn't think was clean enough for them. So now he's going to the dark and gritty DC extended universe and making it into Suicide Squad movies. So, boys, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in the world of DC, in the world of Warner Brothers today, but I do want to start out with this Suicide Squad news, Dennis, because it seems like James Gunn is a great hire, regardless of what kind of comic book movie you want to make or where that studio is, but particularly this maneuver. Let's talk about the James Gunn angle of this first. I know he wants to make a movie. I don't know if he's still upset about getting fired off of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, his beloved project, but you got to think when he's sitting down and he's trying to come up with shots for this movie, when he's directing it, there's going to be just a little tinge of twisting the knife into the MCU.
Oh, for sure. He wants people to watch the movie and think, oh man, that's what we could have had with Guardians 3. So he's definitely going to pull out all his best stuff for this. And he's a good fit for this. I mean, with what we saw with Guardians of the Galaxy, it was a quirky band of misfits. That's what the Suicide Squad is supposed to be. I'm not a fan of them retitling it to just the Suicide Squad and doing a soft reboot. Just keep the same characters and the same actors, and I don't know, do a follow up with the story.
Well, I mean, some of those characters, at least I really resonated with, Riley, and perhaps I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people went to go see Suicide Squad, but I thought Will Smith and Margot Robbie in particular, I thought Jai Courtney was great. I liked watching the squad, just the actual mission they were on. I thought kind of got watered down as we progress further down the plot. Maybe a guy like James Gunn is the right fit for this, as Dennis said, but do you think that there's a risk involved for James Gunn where you make this movie and it has the same problems as the first Suicide Squad, and then all of a sudden it looks like the MCU got another win over DC?
Yeah, that's always the chance that can happen, but I kind of look at it the other way. He has really nothing to lose. I think this is one of the best moves Warner Brothers ever made by taking James Gunn and going, you know what? That's fine. Shots over the bow. We're taking him. And I love it. And I think that if history is anything to look at, he made a hell of a Guardians of the Galaxy 1. He made, I didn't really land with Guardians Volume 2. It was fine, but I definitely like Part 1 more. And I think that his body of work tells you that he can do this. And by coming in and doing the Suicide Squad, it's right up his alley, as everybody has said. But as far as soft reboot, Margot Robbie is going to be in this. There is no way, with her filming Birds of Prey now, there is no way she's going to miss out on the Suicide Squad. She's going to be in this, so it makes me think that maybe we'll see Will Smith come back. And the soft reboot, that is so confusing. That's the thing about Warner Brothers right now. It's like, what are we doing? Is it like shared universe? Is it not? Are we like soft rebooting things? Henry Cavill's not in it. Batman, we'll get there. So it's a little confusing, the wording that's going on. If you want to just get rid of the confusion, bring in Margot Robbie, bring in Will Smith. Soft reboot meaning do a new story. Just kind of, maybe you can reference previous things in the past movie, but I think you just, like your point, Dennis, move on with the story with the same crew. I hope that's what they're going to end up doing. But for sure, Margot Robbie's going to be back.
So, quick tangent. One of the things that we talked about changing the rules in the Schmoedown this year was you have to have articles like "the" in the title. So, if the answer is the
absolutely.
thing, you can't just answer "thing." It's got to be the thing.
The Thing.
That's the only thing separating the title of the Suicide Squad from Suicide Squad. I worry that they're going to run into the same situation that, in my opinion, Bumblebee did, where it didn't announce exactly what this movie was, because Bumblebee was a Transformers movie, but the title was just Bumblebee. I worry about this movie not having as much success as it could have if it's good, just because it's not clearly differentiating itself from the previous movie. Is that a risk?
Yeah, definite risk, because you talk about we're going to talk about it in a little bit about the Batman, and you had Batman, Tim Burton's, but that was in 1989, right? That's a long time away. This is only a few years, and then you're talking about differentiating yourself, like Bumblebee probably should have. You have the Hobbs and Shaw Fast and Furious, but they're titling it Fast and the Furious : Hobbs and Shaw. So they're making sure that franchise title is in there.
Right. Solo and Rogue One were still clearly labeled as a Star Wars story.
Yes. So I think that's something. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that title. I'm not a fan of that soft. Why soft reboot it? Just take the characters and move them along. If you don't like certain ones, either whether the characters or actors, just either replace the actor or change the character setup. It doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Yeah, Riley, I look at a soft reboot in the terminology as being where we're just not going to reference what happened. Like, we're not going to say, hey, remember that time Enchantress went crazy and danced
did
in
a
the
weird
third
dance,
act?
yeah.
We're not going to reference that. We're not going to say it didn't happen, but we're not going to reference the events of the first movie in so much as maybe some plot points of the fallout of where they ended up in that movie we might touch on, because that's where we're picking the pieces up. But we're not going to overtly say, oh yeah, then remember when this happened, as opposed to a hard reboot where it's like Batman Begins.
Right. Or you could be picking up some events after Birds of Prey. We don't know. I mean, we know that Ewan McGregor's in it, Black Mask. Does he have a part in this? We have definitely Margot Robbie. I'm always circling Margot Robbie on this. So soft reboot to me is maybe internally at Warner Brothers, that they're just starting fresh rather than new. It's a fresh direction. So maybe the look is a little bit different. Maybe that they bring in a couple of new actors to fill in the squad, but have that cornerstone of that squad, which is Margot Robbie and I think Will Smith. I would love to see both of them return. But as far as the title, yeah, I'm not crazy about the Suicide Squad. Yeah, you lose that "the" in the Schmoedown. I'm going to challenge. Yeah. I'm going to challenge. I'm going to say, no, I meant The Suicide Squad by James Gunn.
Right.
But you said Suicide Squad, that's David Ayers.
And we're not going to accept Suicide Squad 2 either. That's not the title of the movie. Right. So we're going to be sticklers in Schmoedown, and certainly we're going to see how Warner Brothers, James Gunn, DC, and company are going to be sticklers about the actual movie title. This news all comes from The Hollywood Reporter, and I want to stay on that release date issue for just a second, because this movie is slated to come out August 6th of 2021, and that lends right into our next story, which is The Batman. Now, that may just be the working title of Matt Reeves' Batman film, according to him, but we know that Affleck's out. I don't want to talk about Affleck being out just yet, because maybe we don't know that. But we do know there's a release date, and the release date is the first thing I want to mention, because that release date is a couple months before Suicide Squad in 2021. So in my mind, I'm looking at the powers that be at Warner Brothers positioning themselves to say, not only are we going to dominate the summer 2021, we're going to use that as a platform to say going forward, we are the comic book force in the world of movies to be reckoned with, not the MCU. They're going to have their summer this year. They got Captain Marvel, they have Endgame, they have Spider-Man Far From Home. 2020 could be anybody's ball game with Wonder Woman 1984 coming out. 2021, we got Batman, we got James Gunn, the guy from the MCU making Suicide Squad. This is going to be our summer.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that I think with the release of the Batman and the Suicide Squad in the same summer, we're getting shades of Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, which is an interesting thing, because Suicide Squad did very, very well. Batman v Superman underperformed a bit, but was still a healthy box office worldwide, I guess, but not well critically, I guess. So this is a chance to really show, now that we have Aquaman crossing $1 billion, this is a great play to start doing exactly what you said, Ellis. It's like DC is really making some plans here. They're lining up some stuff to really show that they can go toe-to-toe with Marvel and beat Marvel sooner or later. Sooner or later, the tide will turn. I've been saying this for years. I think that, they were finding their footing with some of this stuff. They gave Zack Snyder carte blanche right at the beginning there to create their shared universe. Didn't really take, so now here we are in a new dawn, and Aquaman is looking good. Shazam's coming out. We got Wonder Woman 1984 next year. And then, bam, you're hitting the Batman and the Suicide Squad. Give me the Superman next.
I knew that. I'm impressed you waited until 9 minutes into the show to bring up your desire for Superman. But
you
you're
know
right.
how long that hurt? Yeah.
Dennis, he makes a good point. I mean, Superman could just be sitting there with his cape on top of some building in Metropolis, just waiting to see all these other movies play themselves out. And then here comes Superman, and all of a sudden, DC is the game in town.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think DC/Warner Brothers have really found their groove, hopefully, because in the beginning they were trying to copy what was going on in the MCU. They wanted the whole shared universe thing. They kind of had almost too much control over the projects, and then things suffered. We don't know how much, with what happened with Justice League, but still, now you have individual now they're kind of rewriting their history. Like, oh yeah, we're the director's choice, right? We let the directors do. It's because of things like Aquaman that made a ton of money, Patty Jenkins, and Wonder Woman. So now you're going to have Matt Reeves with the Batman. You have all these more like auteur directors doing these films. So then those films can stand on their own and not so much rely on being part of the same universe. Even though I would still like to see little connections here and there, they're just not forcing it anymore. And so I think the Batman, with the rumors of it taking place earlier, probably will have very, very loose connections to what we've already seen.
Right. The director's universe is something that Dennis hit on, where you have not just the ones he mentioned, but also Kathy Yan doing Birds of Prey, Patty Jenkins returning for Wonder Woman 1984, James Gunn in there as well. I see this as a move where they're realizing that you can't replicate what the MCU does, and that's what my criticism and a lot of people's was of WB, the DCU, for a long time, is that they were very reactionary. Their grip was too tight on their properties. Yeah. They saw what the MCU was doing. They said, well, we're going to have Batman fight Superman. There you go. And it just doesn't work out the way you think it will. There's a great song by a great band called 38 Special. Hold on loosely. That's exactly what we're doing with this continuity. We don't know if any of these movies are going to play into each other. Hell, we don't even know if Suicide Squad is a reboot. We just know that they're making quality movies, or at least they're attempting to make quality movies with storylines that may not even have to factor in, or storylines they don't even want to factor in. Look at the Joker coming out. That is purposely designed to not fit into anything else. They're playing fast and loose with their characters, and it seems to be working for the studio so far.
Yeah, it's absolutely working. Look at Aquaman. And that had almost zero references to anything that came before besides a passing line about Justice League and Arthur Curry. So why don't you do it? I mean, I think the continuity can exist with the characters and the actors themselves. So like I keep bringing Margot Robbie, man, I should need a visual aid or something. Margot Robbie, that's a continuity that's connected to Suicide Squad in Birds of Prey. The Suicide Squad, she can appear in that. The Batman, we'll get to the casting. We don't know what that's going to be just yet. And if Ben Affleck, probably not. But Henry Cavill, if you bring him in for another Superman, that connects it. Obviously, Jason Momoa is going nowhere, so that's connected to Justice League and Batman v Superman. Gal Gadot, same thing. So why not just get rid of all that stuff, have the actors you want, get the great directors, make it director-driven, and you got yourself movies that work, and then, oh, look at that, we can make a Justice League, and all the actors come back.
Make sure you guys grab your tickets for Mark Reilly's upcoming DC Extended Universe Continuity Tour. Watch him live on stage, untangling it really is like an old school TV and the cable box where you just go behind there and you just got to untangle all the wires, but they're figuring it out. Dennis, that brings me back to my next point. Mm-hmm. Is there a way that we do get connectivity between all these worlds if we bring Ben Affleck back in a supportive role as an older Batman who passes the mantle on to another, the world's greatest detective? Seems like the tide is pointing that way, except for the fact that I don't think Matt Reeves wants that to be the story. I think Matt Reeves just wants to make his own Batman movie and not worry about any of this other crap. And Ben Affleck has said or intimated as much that he's not returning to the role of Batman. But is he really gone for sure? Yeah,
I mean, it's nothing official. It's like, the reports were saying, okay, Matt Reeves' Batman is focusing on a younger Batman, and then Ben Affleck kind of retweeted the Deadline article and said he's excited and looking forward to Matt Reeves' vision come to life, right? He didn't say, I'm out. Right. I'm assuming that he is, but if they bring him back, I think it'll be in like a like a flashback type of thing, like where it's like Ben Affleck thinking about when he was younger. So less of a passing of the mantle thing and more of like, oh, I remember, 20 years ago when I did this, and then that's the story. That would be maybe the way that he would show up in there and connect to the larger universe. But other than that, maybe it's just straightforward, like, oh, this happened 20, 30 years ago.
But then in that scenario, Reilly, then we would still be asking the question, is Affleck going to return as Batman after that movie? Because if that's told in a flashback, we still need a Batman to hang out with all these other superheroes we're building, right?
Yeah, you do. I think the best thing for them to do is to, if they do recast, it looks that way. I mean, I think there's been a fan wish to have Batman maybe bookend the story. It starts with, it's like that young Indiana Jones Chronicle when Harrison Ford's playing the saxophone and goes, I remember the day. And then we cut to Sean Patrick Flannery doing the young Indiana Jones Chronicles. So I would love to see that as well, but I think because of the previous point I made where you make the continuity exist with the actors in the roles, recast it, pull a James Bond. Just recast it, make your Batman movie, make Matt Reeves, for all intents and purposes, seems to be saying, I want to do my Batman movie, and it doesn't call for Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is on Twitter saying everything's cool. I can't wait to see this. Let's move on from Affleck. Let's get a new actor in there. Let's get excited about that and get a hell of a good Batman movie, a rogue gallery, maybe a long Halloween adaptation, what have you. And then that actor shows up alongside a Gal Gadot, a Jason Momoa, and a Henry Cavill, damn it.
There just seems to, despite the cries for Henry Cavill as Superman, there just seems to be more optimism around these announcements than there has been in years past with Warner Brothers DC. And I'm just racking my brain to figure out why, because I feel it too. I feel very excited reading all this stuff, and
Same.
I take this as gospel now. Whereas if these same reports came out a couple years ago, you would take it with a massive grain of salt. Now I'm seeing this, and I'm just already getting myself prepared for the summer of 2021. What has been the shift? Was it Aquaman making all that money? Was it still that we're having some cultural resonance from Wonder Woman's release? What is the reason that we're now feeling optimism?
It's Aquaman. It's absolutely Aquaman.
So like if he can do it, anybody.
Yes, absolutely. Aquaman was the butt of the jokes for many, many years.
Right.
Family Guy parodied him. Entourage did it.
The State had a great
The State,
Justice
that's
League
right.
sketch.
So, when you look at how fans reacted, and with the box office, they're going back multiple times. This thing, $1 billion. I think everybody in Warner Brothers went, oh, okay. Now, what worked? Well, what worked was getting James Wan, letting him do his thing, letting Jason Momoa have some fun. Just look at that, and they're doing it right now. If Matt Reeves is saying, I don't need Ben Affleck, and that's trumping that, then you're on to something, I think. Patty Jenkins, they just followed the mold. Wonder Woman worked box office with critics. She's on 1984. Keep doing that. Keep letting your filmmakers do your thing. Let the movies play. See how it does at box office. But I think they're very happy over there at Warner Brothers, and this shift is showing. And that kind of change in course was I think I actually saw it happen in the middle of Justice League when Joss Whedon came in, and that movie was a Frankenstein's monster, but there was a course correction in the middle of that movie, which I think led to a lot of people not really liking it. But then here we are with Aquaman, same with Shazam, 1984. We're off and running right now, and I think it's in a good way.
Well, yeah, Dennis, Riley and I clearly have had some fizzy lifting drinks. Are you joining us as we float up? Or are you going to keep us?
No, I'm with you guys. I think, imagine if Justice League hadn't come out and it had gone from Wonder Woman to Aquaman.
Right.
Wow. Justice League was the thing that kind of like where people are like, oh my God, like here's a movie that has three of the most famous, iconic superheroes together, and it can't even make X amount of money, and people were just like, oh my God. So imagine if it had just gone from the success of Wonder Woman to the success of Aquaman to what, looks to be, I can't say for sure, but it looks to be a good Shazam movie coming soon. And then we have these two, the Suicide Squad and the Batman coming out. Like there you have a lot of good momentum going for the DC universe.
Well, we're not sure if we can put in stone yet that these movies are coming out on their now scheduled release dates of June 25th and August 6th of 2021. All we know is that we're here today. And tomorrow, you guys can go to my comedy show in Arizona. It's taking place in Scottsdale, Arizona at Pub Rock Live. You still get some tickets at markellislive.com, hosted by Josh McCouga and Ken Knapsack. If you're in the Arizona area, do not miss out on this. It's one show only. 9 p.m. is the start date. Regardless of what your ticket says, you bought a ticket that says different time, don't worry. It starts at 9 p.m. Everybody's getting the same show. Doors open at 8. Show starts at 9. Cannot wait to gas up the Fusion and see y'all in Arizona tomorrow night. If you're in the Southern California area, the day after the Super Bowl, that is this Monday, February 4th, you may get to go to a special screening at IMAX. This is their headquarters in Playa. Did I say Playa del Vista, California? You guys can go to IMAX's headquarters to check out an exclusive advanced screening of the Lego Movie 2, the second part. That is hosted by Collider. More details on Collider.com. If you're going to be in the SoCal area, head to Collider.com right now and check out how you can be in the audience for that screening. I'm seeing that movie tonight.
Oh, are you?
Are you really?
Jealous.
Nice.
Excited to check out the second part. Like, I just can't imagine a Lego movie being bad. I can imagine not being
I
great,
imagine that before the movie came out, I was like, oh, this sounds terrible. And then it was awesome.
Right.
And then now I'm looking forward to the second.
And I like the Batman one a lot. I thought the Ninjago one was really good. So I am all in on Lego as of right now. Let's keep talking Warner Brothers, huh? We've got
Let's
more
do
release
it.
dates.
I know.
So
Can you believe this?
Warner Brothers they're just throwing release dates against the wall and seeing how excited we get because they have moved up Dr. Sleep. I know this is going to make Mark Reilly very happy. From its original release date of January 24th, 2020. Oh, we're going to have to wait a whole year. Now they moved it up to November 8th of this very year. That's like right around the corner. Dr. Sleep, of course, is the sequel to The Shining. It stars Ewan McGregor as an adult version of Danny Torrance. Is it Danny? He's all grown up already.
He's all grown up.
Well, he can still shine occasionally. He doesn't really want to, but he can if he has to, and he might have to in this new movie because it's the sequel to The Shining, so bad things are afoot around every corner. We also have new release dates for Robert Zemeckis' adaptation of The Witches, and that is coming out on May 21st, 2021, same day, I believe, as the DC Super Pets. So a lot of release date announcements from Warner Brothers. Dennis, I know Riley's answer to this. Do you believe that this shows a lot of confidence on the studio's part of what Dr. Sleep could do?
Oh, definitely, because they're moving it from, even though it's only a few months, you're moving it from, I think, January 24th or something like that to November.
It's a big few months.
Yeah, you're instead of the garbage season, you're putting it back into like almost like prime time. That was actually, I think, Aquaman originally was going to come out in November, so that they're priming it for big things, and I like that Ewan McGregor casting in that role. So I think that's a sign that they're very happy with the movie. Yeah,
they're confident too, Riley. It's opening against the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So do you think that your team from the horror segment can take on one of the most iconic video game characters of all time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, this is counter programming. I think Sonic will probably, on paper, do better, but don't count out the horror franchise. This is Warner Brothers who gave us It. And so if we look at this, I am really excited about this because not only did they move it to a prime, almost holiday release to get in and go head-to-head against some of these huge blockbusters, but it's Mike Flanagan who just knocked it out of the park with The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, which I highly recommend. And so for him to go over to Dr. Sleep, which is one of Stephen King's best books, it's a fantastic sequel to The Shining, just in book. It's not the Stanley Kubrick sequel. But that is such a good sign. And if we get a great adaptation like we did maybe with It, I think we're going to see big box office. And I'm very excited for that. Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson is playing the villain in this. She's going to Rose the Hat. That's phenomenal. And it's such a fantastic story. I think this movie, based on this new release date change, this might surprise the hell out of a lot of people and make a lot of horror fans very happy.
And it's directed by Mike Flanagan, who is also the creator of The Haunting of Hill House, so maybe still get some of that momentum going forward. Right. People loved it on Netflix, and I think people are going to show up in force to check this movie out in November of this year when it comes out. I'm pretty excited for this one, too.
Yeah.
Got to be honest with you. All right, well, you know what? Stick with the horror theme. This one's for you, Riley. There's vampires afoot. And it's going to be David Leitch's next movie. So it could be action-adventure within the world of vampires. The movie is called Undying Love, and it will be David Leitch's next directorial project. He also directed Hobbs Shaw, which is upcoming. So now we get Undying Love, and this is a movie that's a modern-day romance set in Hong Kong. Boy meets girl, you know the story, with the twist. Oh, no, she's a vampire. God, I hate when that happens. This is a movie that originally you had a number of filmmakers attached to it. Warner Brothers ends up winning the bidding war, which was pretty heated reportedly, and now they settle on David Leitch, according to Deadline's report. Mark Reilly, going to you on this one first.
Yeah.
Undying Love, David Leitch. What is he going to bring to it? Is there going to be a lot of action to go with some blood sucking?
I don't know. I'm hoping for an actual straight reboot of Once Bitten, because that was a fantastic movie. Jim Carrey. I don't know if you've no, anyone haven't seen it. It's good.
I'd say hard reboot as opposed to soft reboot.
Yeah, it's very hard reboot. I'm not familiar with the source material, but hearing David Leitch doing a vampire movie, that gets me excited. That really gets me excited. Maybe we will. The story doesn't sound like there's a lot of action to it, but again, I don't know the source material, so. Vampires, I love the old tale that when you fall in love with a vampire, you probably, if you want to stay with them, might have to become a vampire yourself. So I don't know if that goes into the story, but just based on paper, with David Leitch directing, hot bidding war for this, and Warner Brothers finally got it. That means that there's something to this story. I want to check it out now. Sign me up.
Dennis, should Hobbs and Shaw fans be excited because maybe Warner Brothers got an advanced look at Hobbs and Shaw and said, this is the guy that should be doing our vampire romance action horror movie?
I mean, possibly. I mean, he already, has proven himself with John Wick, and then, Atomic Blonde. I didn't really care for the movie, but obviously everyone loves that 12-minute sequence, which I loved as well.
It involves a frying pan.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And then, Deadpool 2, didn't love it as much as the first one but still quite enjoyed it. So he has a decent track record. He's also signed up to do The Division, which is based on the Tom Clancy video game. So I think that will probably be, after Undying Love. I was reading a little more about the comic book. I guess it was originally supposed to be like an 8-issue arc. They ended up only doing 4. I think the main characters needs to break the vampire curse that the girl he's fallen in love with, and the only way he can do that, he has to kill the vampire that made her.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the action part.
That's great.
Yes, that's the action part of it.
That's a piece of cake.
That's awesome.
I would love if I met a young lady that I was smitten with, and I find out she's a vampire. I got to be honest with you, boys. I'm going to be a little upset. I'm going to be a little like, oh God, isn't that just my luck? But if I find out, all I have to do is I don't feel bad killing a vampire. Maybe call me crazy. I don't feel bad killing a. You're probably doing them a favor, right? They're undead. They've been roaming the earth for centuries. They want some sleep. I'm here to give it to them. It's a challenge, though, and it sounds like there's going to be more than just that obstacle in this. The graphic novel Dennis was referring to comes from Tom Coker, Daniel Friedman. Does stuff like this intrigue y'all to check the source material out? I mean, it seems like a lot easier than reading Dune, for example.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'll wait till after the movie comes out and then I check it out. That happened with The Last Airbender, Avatar. I watched the animated series, which was awesome, and the movie sucked. It just depends. Like Game of Thrones, I'm waiting until it's over. But then Walking Dead, I read the comic books before the TV series came out. So this one, I'm not too sure of. But I was reading about. You said it was created by Tom Coker and Daniel Friedman.
Yeah.
I think Tom Coker said that he got inspired to do this story because he read an article about how a John, and when I say John, not his name, John, fell in love with a prostitute, and then in order to save her, he went and killed her pimp.
Yeah. So killed the pimp.
That's where he got the inspiration.
All right. Some people just fork the cash over. Other people have other ideas. Mark Reilly.
Yeah, that was the original ending of Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Weird.
You should kill the end of Pretty Woman. Jason Alexander's character.
I'm really interested as a horror lover. I've gravitated to a number of horror comics, and especially Walking Dead. That's a good example. I would love to check this out. Mostly because of the genre, but I could see myself if this goes, because he was supposed to do The Division. David Leitch was. So if this does go, I might want to wait for the movie first, and then if it does spark my interest, then go get the comic. But all of this sounds good, and I love the classic vampire thing is if you want to turn them back, you got to kill the head of the vampire. It worked in Lost Boys, so we'll see this here.
Yeah, well, Netflix continues their run of greenlighting movies and exciting sounding projects. The latest 2 are both from Brie Larson, and not just starring in the movie. Brie also has her eyes on directing both films. She already directed one. She made her directorial debut with a film called Unicorn Store. So it's Brie Larson and a producer of A Star Is Born, Lynette Howell. They've made a 2-picture deal with Netflix. Now, one of which is for Netflix to distribute Unicorn Store. That played at Toronto Film Festival, I think maybe as back as 2017. Yeah. So that's finally landing on Netflix April 5th. Brie Brie Larson also starring in that, and now she's currently inking a deal to not only star but possibly direct the next feature that both she and Howell will be partnering up on, and this one is called Lady Business. So while Unicorn Store, it's a rollicking comedy. You got Samuel L. Jackson in there, so it's fun to see Samuel L. Jackson and Brie Larson in back-to-back months having that kind of chemistry. Bradley Whitford's also in that one. Lady Business is based on the true story of two young female entrepreneurs. Their names are Penelope Gazin and Kate Dwyer, and they basically had to invent a third partner that is a male just to get their foot in the door, because that's how backwards the business industry still can be sometimes. So they get taken seriously, and then they're off on their path. You're certainly taking Brie Larson's career seriously right now, because not only does she have her sights set on starring in big budget movies like a Captain Marvel, but she's partnering with the future of the game in Netflix, and not only is she starring in the movies, Dennis, she's directing and she's producing them.
Yeah, with the Unicorn Store, I think there was like mixed reviews about that film, and it, you know, the general public hasn't seen it, so I think it's a good business move for Netflix to acquire it and release it 1 month after Captain Marvel. So if people, you know, are clamoring to see more of her, and especially if she's paired with Sam Jackson, and the other one actually interests me a lot more, the Lady Business one, because that just sounds like such a great concept, and it's based on a true story, and I think it lends itself to a lot of comedic situations. Any type where there's some sort of farce where they have to keep up some sort of fake appearances, I think will be pretty funny.
Yeah, you invent a dude just to get your foot in the door, Riley. I think that opens itself to a lot, and a lot of different genres maybe all entangled in one giant movie. So Unicorn Store, Lady Business, Brie Larson's here to stay.
She's here to stay, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, I don't think anybody deserves it more. She was phenomenal in Room, wins the Oscar, gets Captain Marvel. She was fantastic in Trainwreck. There's a lot of good stuff here. I really want to see Unicorn Store to see how she does with directing, but I love to see her stepping up and like nailing everything in her career. She's like, oh, superhero? Check. Oh, direct? Check. Here's another one. Big 2-picture deal over at Netflix. And I really am responding to the material. True story. This sounds great. Lots of humor can be in there, and a lot of heart. And it makes sense that Brie Larson is going to tackle this. I almost guarantee she's going to direct this. You know, she's very, very active in, you know, making sure that women are noticed and get these directing jobs. She's very vocal about this, so she's putting her money where her mouth is, and she's lining up her second project. And I bet there's a lot you can say about the society within that movie. Make fun of it, shine a light on it, have fun with it, and she's off and running. Maybe we get a great, I don't know if it's romantic comedy based, if there's what the true story is, if there's going to be some kind of romance in the middle, but this sounds like a very topical and perfect topic for her to make.
Yeah, and it's just further evidence that Netflix is upping their game because they upped their subscription price by $2 a month. So to come over to, but now I have a 75-inch TV at my place. It's 75. It's almost too big.
Oh, we get it.
So Riley, you're welcome to come over anytime. Dennis is still going to be $10 for you.
Oh, well, I'm glad you didn't raise the price.
No.
Along with the Netflix and the improved picture quality at your house.
Hey, I am nothing but benevolent. You get one bathroom ticket for free.
One token.
Any additional visit to the bathroom.
Is it one of those tokens that you clink into there and then you have to turn the knob and
it's like
use it once?
A city like a New York or Los Angeles McDonald's. You got to go get the special token. Okay. You got to put it in there. And,
I'm going to put a door stop. So I'm going to use the token and then I'm going to put a little door stop in there so that I can get in there more often.
That's trust me, with my new apartment, I'm still working on the bathroom door, so you may be able to get in there for free as of right now. We're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. Go and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Collider Video, our own Twitter handle, is giving a shout out to our incredible team, Adam Smith, Cody Hall, writing lower thirds. I didn't notice the blood-sucking Leitch one. They're
the best.
One of the better ones, but
it's Adam.
That was
Adam crushes.
Yeah.
Crushes those.
Wonder how long he takes to think of it. Do you think it takes him a long time, or do you think he just types away, he just free flowing?
Yes. Brilliance just happens.
Yeah.
It just pops in there.
There you go. Well, Calix Vargas is next up, and he says, do you think Deathstroke will be the main villain for the Suicide Squad? Look, we've been hearing that we're going to get some sort of Deathstroke visit. We got that tease at the end of Justice League, I want to say it was, and it's Joe Manganiello. Yeah. So are we going to have him be Deathstroke finally?
I would love to see that.
I'm not sure, though, because originally he was supposed to be in the Batman movie, and then I think that was Ben Affleck's Batman movie, the one he was going to write and direct. And so I think since then they've kind of, it looks like they've changed ideas. So
Well, yeah, and then there was going to be a Deathstroke movie with Gareth Evans
Directing.
directing, and we haven't heard anything since. And so I think the fans, one thing that happened at the end of that Justice League and that stinger was people lost their mind when it was revealed that Joe Manganiello was Deathstroke and maybe going to go up against Justice League. Yes, I would say put him in the Suicide Squad. Put a pin in that little scene with Justice League, flesh him out in Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. I'm going to be challenging this thing in the Schmoedown, aren't I? And then, get him excited. And I think that's a perfect choice. And then that can maybe set up his standalone movie, because I would still love to see Gareth direct this thing, a Deathstroke movie in the future.
I like Suicide Squad and Justice League. Actually, I really like Justice League. Suicide Squad, okay. But Justice League, big fan of Justice League. So I saw your movie multiple times. I can't speak for anybody else. All right. Let's move on with that admission. Adam Clay is next up, and to cleanse our palate of my opinions. And he says, with James Gunn now at Warner Brothers, do you think it's possible the Suicide Squad performs better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? I'd pump the brakes on that, because as I said at the time James Gunn got let go, I think he in no way should he have been fired, but I also think that James Gunn or most other 99% of other directors, I could show you two versions of Guardians of the Galaxy, and you'd be hard-pressed to figure out which one was James Gunn and which one was not. I just think that that's the world, particularly the MCU we exist in now, so I think another filmmaker is going to come in, make a great Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that is still in the MCU machine. So while I am of the opinion that DC possibly has the stars aligning for them to overtake the MCU in 5 years, I also think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to make a crap ton of money, and the Suicide Squad still has an uphill battle, even with the signing of James Gunn. Am I crazy, or do you guys still think that Guardians 3 is the odds-on favorite to win the box office?
Yeah, Guardians 3. It's always based on what the last movie was. So people will remember Suicide, the first one, and it didn't excite as many people as I think they wanted it to. Where Guardians, you're coming off Guardians 1, 2, and even just if you include Infinity War and Endgame in that, just the characters, so people are going to be excited to see them. So I feel like it's always is like that. Like Spider-Man 3 made more than Spider-Man 2 because Spider-Man 2 was great, not because Spider-Man 3 was so awesome. So
Right. Well, I'll go the other way on this, because look at what happened with the original Guardians. Nobody expected that thing to do as well as it did, because it was so good, because it was so original. It's such an original James Gunn production. If he brings those sensibilities, knocks it out of the park like he did with the first Guardians, yeah, on paper, the Marvel name and all of that, the coming off of Endgame, who are we going to get to direct to see the next chapter or the next volume of those space misfits? But if he really does well with the Suicide Squad, it could be a massive hit. You never know. I'll say it could overtake it if the movie is really, really good.
It's got to be good.
It's got to be real
That's
good.
what we really want.
Yeah.
And look, you can talk about MCU. Is it going to stay on top? Is the DC going to take the reins? We win either way as film fans. This isn't like you have to pick a team and be like, no, I'm totally Team D, I'm totally Team. I want to go see good movies every month, and maybe we get that if they're throwing slobber knockers at each other left and right in the coming years. That's what we can all root for. Well, our last Twitter question comes from not only a very good human being in real life, but also one of my favorite Twitter handles. It's our buddy Luis Rivera, and his Twitter handle this is spelled with 6 H's in the His Twitter handle is shit. That's our guy, Luis Rivera.
That is a good one.
Shit writes, what is the best movie to see on a rainy day? Now, here in Los Angeles, we know that people in the United States are going through much worse weather problems than we are, but we just kind of woke up and there was thunder and lightning. You literally never see that in LA. We had a lot of rain a week ago, so we're kind of used to that now, but tons of rain, tons of lightning, tons of thunder. I'm not asking anybody to weep tears for us. I'm just saying it's surprising. So in the vein of the weather, what is the best rainy day movie? What are you boys taking?
It's tough.
God,
it's tough because
so many.
No, but I mean, it's tough for me because there's so few rainy days here in LA. Like, I don't,
you got to really know what you're going with.
Yeah, so you go first.
You always want to go with a really good horror movie, I would say, on a rainy day. It kind of sets the mood. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to recommend one that I just saw the other night as a second viewing, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. is a
Yeah.
fantastic horror
Creepy movie.
Creepy. It's on Netflix right now. So all you have to do right now, as you're sitting and looking at the rain, is fire up the old Netflix. Sure.
Netflix.
The
It's a new one.
Netflix.
Netflix floxing?
The Netflix. Floxing. It's on there on Netflix, so it's really easy. You don't have to even get off the couch. Just take that remote and put on The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
I watched that movie on your suggestion, but that was back when it was only available on Vudu. So I bought it on Vudu, and I was not disappointed. Very
It's great.
creepy
It's
movie.
so creepy.
Is that Brian Cox, Emil Hirsch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It takes place in Virginia, a funeral home in Virginia.
Yep.
Grew up around near a lot of funeral homes. Not that you need to know that, but I did, and it's a weird movie.
It's weird. It's so good, though.
See,
man.
okay, now
that reveal. Whew.
I'm going to steal your genre, though, because on a rainy day, I want to say this is 2002, 2001. I'm not the movie release date genius that Manthur Bateman is, but me and my sister, we were both home from college, and it was raining, it was pouring, and the old man was snoring. We decided to go to the movies, and we saw a horror film called The Ring. My sister and I love going to see horror movies with each other. We'd be getting scared. And The Ring scared the crap out of both of us. And it was one of those rainy days where we went in and it was rainy, it was overcast. At like 4:30 p.m. was the movie start time. By the time we left, it was dark. And when you see a horror movie, you walk in during the light or cloud of day, and you're like, okay, I can handle a horror movie. You walk out and it's night. It's a different vibe, man. That was a long night. The Ring. Check out The Ring on a rainy day. Dennis, did we buy you enough time to think of your rainy day?
I was just thinking of genres. I definitely wouldn't go horror. I don't know. I think I get an opposite effect when it's raining. It's like, oh, I want something more comforting. I want to be. So I'll watch some sort of comedy. So something like a Dumb and Dumber, where like I'm like, I just want to laugh. I want to, just forget about the rain and be more in a good mood. Not scared like you guys. You guys.
Well, then how about
soup.
Rain Man, huh?
Should probably change the subject then. You know what I caught last night on Netflix? I had not seen this. My buddy John Caparulo is a great comic. You can currently see him in Las Vegas at Harrah's. He told me to watch this thing it's crazy. Is this abduction thing on Netflix? I can't remember. It's like it's some sort of abduction thing. I got to look it up real quick. This family in the 70s, this girl, she got kidnapped twice by the same guy. And it's like the weirdest thing. I got to look it up. It's everything. They turn out okay, but it's this. What the hell is it called? God, it's so good. I'm there. I'm almost there.
Wait.
So she gets kidnapped by the guy, and then the guy I got to Google it. Riley, buy me some time.
So Henry Cavill, huh?
Yeah, is he
The
returning?
Superman.
Is he returning?
Yeah, is he
great.
returning? I don't know.
No, because
Abducted in plain sight. I got it.
Abducted in plain sight. We were
sight.
just getting somewhere
It
here.
is nuts. Check it out on Netflix if you've not got it. It's tragic. It's horrifying, but at least you have the people who survived it. Everybody survived it. They made it out okay. Watch Abducted in Plain Sight. It's
Abducted in Plain Sight. I want to see this. Okay.
Yeah, don't trust your neighbors. I don't care how nice they are. Anyway.
I don't trust my neighbors.
We say thank you for tuning into this episode and this week of Collider Movie Talk. I want to thank Dennis Tzeng for stopping in and joining us. Dennis, you are an OG of this show. You are a great pillar of the community here at Collider. Where can all the kids find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. I do a bunch of other shows here. I cover video games on the Collider Games channel. I do an MMA show on Collider Sports. And I do mailbag on the weekend sometimes.
Dennis, and he goes where he is needed. Now, Mark Reilly, on the other hand, this guy just will not leave. Where can the kids find you?
Yeah, I know. I don't. I sleep in the corner there. You can find me at Riley Around, Twitter and Instagram. Latest Riley Roundtable drop today with William the Beast Bibiani talking about horror movies that scared the crap out of us as kids.
We tolerate you because not only do we love you, but we also need somebody who is an expert in the world of Jaws and somebody to remind us that, yes, Henry Cavill could come back to play Superman at any given moment.
Darn tootin'.
I am merely Mark Ellis. You guys can follow me at Mark Ellis Live. You can get tickets for upcoming shows, including Phoenix tomorrow night, markellislive.com. Chicago, April 12th. You can buy those tickets right now, too. They're on sale. Throw it to the wire to say goodbye on behalf of these two gentlemen and our own blood-sucking leech, Adam Smith. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.